On April 7th, 2007, the series Bakugan Battle Brawlers premiered on Japanese television. A joint effort between Sega Toys in Japan and Spin Master in Canada, the Bakugan franchise was a combined toy, game, and cartoon series centering on these little marbles that exploded into monsters when they attached to a magnetic surface. While initially unsuccessful in Japan, the combination of a fun gimmick, low price point, and that temporary allure of scarcity caused, honest to God, by a warehouse burning down, Bakugan was a smash hit in North America, lasting for 4 years before finally bowing out in 2011, with a more subdued release in Japan for a few years under the name Bakutech. But now, 8 years after the last Bakugan left store shelves in the United States, a remake has risen from the ashes, spurred on by games like Turning Mech Hard and the nostalgia boom this decade has had going for it. The original Bakugan were the size of marble shooters and came in one of 6 colors, or attributes: red for Fiery Pyrus, blue for Aquatic Aquos, green for Windy Ventus, brown for Groundbound Subterra, white for Luminous Chaos, and black for Shadowy Darkus. Just a second there, what's with this sudden change in pronunciation in the new series to Hayos? Hayos, Breakfast of Champions! The marbles all transformed into a variety of monsters like dragons, gargoyles, and hydras, and all had clever names like Dragonoid, Garganoid, and Hydranoid. Huh, maybe not that creative now that I think about it. Still, each of these characters came in the 6 colors, so whether you had a favorite character or a favorite attribute, there was plenty for you to collect. They even took things a bit further with special color schemes such as ones that inverted the normal colors or were made with translucent plastic, given a sort of Tron look using pure white plastic, or even premium Bakugan made with metal parts, randomizer dials, or wind-up spinners sold at a higher price point. They also later introduced some oddly shaped pieces such as traps and battle gear that were meant to act as support pieces to these Bakugan. The first round of Bakugan had an exposed magnet on the bottom, but with the growing magnetic toy scare, eventually sealed the bottom hole off and later, as another precaution, introduced the larger B2-sized Bakugan, which would be the norm for the rest of the series. But then things got a little out of hand. Spin Master would sometimes introduce huge numbers of special color schemes, including movie tie-ins and retailer exclusives, and the pieces got gimmickier, uglier, and much more expensive, which finally caused the brand to peter out once the tie-in cartoon hit rock bottom. And believe me, the final round was downright ugly, with crazed color schemes and grotesque designs that could no longer be thought of as marble-shaped. Covered in bumps and ridges that I took to referring to as Alto Bronte's disease, named for one of the first Bakugan that had this design flaw. The series did continue for a time afterwards in Japan under the name Bakutech, featuring high-quality toys released in small numbers that returned the series to its spherical roots, but it remained a niche toy that was never given an international release. And now, 8 years later, we finally have the reboot in the form of Bakugan Battle Planet. Simplifying themselves in an effort to return to form, these new Bakugan are even larger than the B2 Bakugan, closer in size to the final series of the Bakutech line. These newer Bakugan have returned to their round marble shape and stick to just the 6 basic colors, with the brown Subterra being replaced by the golden Aurelus. While these Bakugan do have a higher price point than the originals, they do sport sharp color schemes, detailed sculpts, and low complexity transformations, needing at most one additional step to fully transform into monster mode after opening, versus the original series, which sometimes were very complex to change. While only a few names were brought back for the new series, such as Garganoid and Dragonoid, many of the Bakugan with new names are clearly based on a Bakugan from the original series, with the Knight Bakugan Syndius drawing inspiration from Siege, and the Robot Bakugan Artulian being based on Robotalion. And then there are the Bakugan Ultras. Sold at a higher price point to the normal Bakugan, the Bakugan Ultras are more complex and detailed, seemingly aimed more at collectors and old-time fans rather than kids, having the magnet that holds them shut found anywhere on the body instead of just the base. They do have some of the ugly design choices that damage the brand a bit in the original version, however, though the designers claim that these huge, bulging joints actually help make a straighter shot. And that's actually totally not true. The goal of the Bakugan game is to make your Bakugan open or stand on a small hexagonal card containing a plate of metal called a Baku core by rolling them from a short distance away, which, seeing as they are perfectly round, can be a little hard to aim. Bakugan Ultras, however, are flattened around their vertical axis, sort of like a tire, which allows them to roll in a straight line and thus offer a skill advantage when trying to stand a Bakugan. It's not that the joints let them roll straight as much as they don't interfere with the rolling action of this central tire. I mean, I guess there's also supposed to be a gimmick where they jump into the air, but apparently I can't get it to work right. Oh, now it decides to work. These Bakugan are available in sets of 1, 3, or 5, which you can learn more about in my product-specific videos, links in the description, as well as having a carrying case and battlefield available. A bit of a more humble release than the original, which also had wrist launchers, belt clips, giant Bakugan, this weird spinny thing, statues, keychains, and other gimmicks that I don't think many people paid attention to. These Bakugan also include everything they need in order to be used in the broader trading card game, including the character card and 2 metallic Baku cores, with the Ultra Bakugan and multi-packs also containing some bonus ability cards. They are a bit on the pricey side though. Costing $7 at its lowest, it matches the price point that the original Bakugan was at when it met its fate, rather than the economical price tag that helped get it off the ground. Now, I did a series of videos taking a closer look at the actual products in the line, but in general, a lot of the basic Bakugan have rather chunky designs, which I guess is intended to be a callback to the original series. I mean, Trox over here is just freaking Pac-Man! There's also been some criticism of the new design for Dragonoid, the most iconic character in the original series, calling him chunky, stubby, or that he looks like an unreleased Bakugan called Leonidas. Now, to be fair, the original iteration of Dragonoid also had a sort of chunkiness that made it look like it was wearing a diaper, but the problem I think comes from the fact that Bakugan moved on from those early designs, and later versions of Dragonoid, such as Blitz Dragonoid, which comes from Gundalian Invaders, the 3rd season of the original line, which I feel was the height of the game's design aesthetic, at least as far as America was concerned, has a lot more of that slim and detailed design sensibility that people have come to expect from Bakugan. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is, thank God for Pegatrix. Pegatrix represents what I expect from this new line, a strong all-around design bristling with detail that looks great whether opened or closed. Others, like Ultra Serpentes and Mantanoid, while not the best looking in ball form, take full advantage of the Ultra Bakugan's gimmick where the magnet can be anywhere on the body to create some truly stunning designs. Still, we're currently at a bit of an impasse, where the basic Bakugan have a nice round shape but chunky designs, and the Ultra Bakugan have lovely complexity but a very ugly marble shape, with only the likes of Pegatrix and Ultra Hyderus really walking that thin line where they nail both aspects. There also don't seem to be any of the fun alternate color schemes outside of Diamond, where most or all of the Bakugan's plastic is replaced with clear pieces. Hopefully things will improve once we get more than just 12 different Bakugan to choose from, and several of them, such as Syndius, Trox Ultra, and Serpentes Regular, do look promising from the tiny images on the checklist. There have even been pictures of an Ultra Dragonoid which could be promising, but won't show up until a later wave. There are also a few mistakes in the packaging and other pieces. The Baku storage case, which is meant to carry everything from Bakugan to Baku cores to the trading cards, cannot handle the cards if they have been put into protective sleeves, a card game habit so common that even young children use them. I mean, I have kinda had it pointed out to me that if a kid isn't using sleeves that the cards will kinda rattle around inside the case, but if somebody isn't sleeving their cards, then they probably don't care too much about their condition. The support products are also pretty heavily slanted towards just 3 of the 6 attributes, Pyrus, Aquos, and Darkus. Though for now I can only assume that's because it's still early in the line and we'll get the stuff for the other attributes later. Think I'll hold off on sending Ventus fans that invitation to join the Spurned Attributes Club for now. Speaking of spurned attributes, there is the fact that one of the original 6 attributes, Subterra, was eliminated in this release. According to word of mouth from those who attended the preview event, Subterra was dropped because it was the worst selling. Okay. I can't say I entirely buy that reasoning. I mean, there is always the brown toy stigma, or so it's called, but I think something else is at play here, which I will be getting into in another video. And finally, a minor nitpick here, the cheaper $7 Bakugan don't come with any of the extra bonus stuff that you get in literally every other set. You don't get any ability cards, the checklist, or the quick play rules. Oh right, quick play rules! Now Bakugan does have a full game which I will talk about in its own video, but there is a quick play version of the game which uses just the contents of the toy packs. Players choose 3 Bakugan and 6 Baku cores, with the 6 cores matching the ones listed on the cards of the Bakugan they chose. They take turns placing each of their cores, making sure to touch an edge with at least one as they do, making sort of a honeycomb field shape. They then each choose 1 Bakugan and roll it onto the board at the same time. If a Bakugan lands on a core and opens, that is considered a stand. If neither Bakugan stand, both players roll again. If just one Bakugan stands, then it wins automatically. If both players snag a core, then it's showdown time! the printed power on the Bakugan along with any B power bonus on the core they pick up. Highest number wins. In case of a tie, check the Bakugan card and look for the first icon. Highest number wins. If it's still a tie, then both players re-roll. The winner keeps their Bakugan open with its core still attached, and the loser returns their core to the field and closes their Bakugan. First player to win with all 3 of their Bakugan wins the game. It's always nice to have quick play rules for games with a more toyetic aspect, something with simple strategy for the kids to enjoy that doesn't require a huge investment. Still, it does make me pine for the days where the battle packs contained enough Bakugan for 2 players. But I'd say my biggest grievance with the Bakugan toy reboot has more to do with Spin Master's business practices than anything. You see, in the years of Bakugan's absence, a Korean company named Sonokong created Turning Mech Card, which is basically Bakugan with cars involving a show with writing quality on par with that of the original Bakugan, which in turn inspired a copycat toy called Optimorphs, later called Screechers Wild, by Chinese company the Alpha Group, which traded in the card game for a mousetrap that allows the transforming cars to do backflips. It also had a terrible and slightly racist cartoon that was thankfully thrown into the garbage where it belonged when the brand went international. Thing is, Spin Master sued these companies for patent infringement when they were brought stateside a full year before the Bakugan re-release. Not because they really had a truly legitimate claim, but mostly to act as a bully. A bad enough look in and of itself, considering the 8-year toy drought, but it is made far worse by the fact that this new Bakugan series is clearly copying ideas from both of them. I mean, a lot of ideas! I'm the kind of guy who enjoys a healthy sense of competition. If somebody applies a clever twist to your idea that makes it wind up different from yours, as far as I'm concerned, that makes it fair play. But Spin Master getting litigious looks more like an effort to bully away their competition and reeks of a lack of confidence. These new Bakugan can clearly make a case for themselves. Just let it go! I mean, I will continue to support Bakugan because I think it has real potential and is worth supporting, but I'm a fan of all 3 of these franchises, and I won't soon forget which one threw a smoke bomb into the room. But that said, yeah, I mean it when I said I think this new Bakugan line has real potential. I mean, I am seeing a few familiar mistakes, like the breaks in round design and mistakes regarding card boxes, but I hope that those are things that they can work through now that they've been pointed out. We have yet to see any of the gimmicks like combining Bakugan such as Max's Dragonoid, things like reverse or translucent Bakugan, or any of the number of random things I named off before, but I'm generally cool with that. I do like the fact that the branding this time around is more on point and isn't being ruined with overpriced action figures or something. That said, I would like to see a little branching out. Some Bakugan with unique color schemes outside of Diamond I think would be fun. I'd love it if Pearl or Translucent could make a return, even if they were cosmetic only. Heck, Beyblade has had some success bringing back some tops from the original series back in the early 2000s, so reprints of old favorite Bakugan might not be a bad idea either. Call them classic or vintage on the card name or something. But I'm still looking forward to the future. There are a number of Bakugan that have been introduced both in the show and in the side content available online that have yet to become available, and you can bet they're going to be on this channel the moment they are. But for now, we should move on. Tune in next time where I go over the next part of this Bakugan reboot, the trading card game. Until next time, this is Kohdok signing off.
Powers in our hand, take a stand, saving everyone.